Hey, everybody, it's me, Jonathan Moore, the voice of the Vale, back with another Big Hype podcast, brought to you by Hype Energy Drinks. Make sure you get yourself some energy. Bravos boxing gloves protect yourselves at all times. And, of course, please support our charity of choice, Boxers in Need. But, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, my very exclusive guest from Stoke-on-Trent, right up there in the Eddie Hall and all those other great people up that way, because loads of great people come from Stoke. Miss Beccy, Firebomb, Ferguson.
Hello, how are you doing, John? You okay?
I haven't introduced you for a while. You can tell, obviously.
That's okay. It's okay.
How have you been, Beck? You're all right.
I've been all right, thank you. How are you?
No, I'm good. We're chipping well. We're tracking on everything. It's a nice evening. The sun's shining somewhere. Not in Wales, obviously.
Not here, but yeah, I'm sure it's shining somewhere. But it's
Bahamas.
definitely not shining in Stoke.
Cayman Islands, somewhere nice anyway. So Beck, the first question I ask everyone who comes on the podcast and is this simple one. It's two parts. How and why did you get involved in boxing?
Okay. I mean, I've mentioned about this in sort of chats when I've had them with people before, but in a sort of nutshell, I kind of was going through a very bad sort of time in my life. Mm-hmm. Drugs, alcohol, bad relationships. I was sort of in a toxic, abusive relationship as well, and it was kind of finding an escape, really. So I kind of went into a boxing gym on an off chance, and it just sort of happened like that. But I actually came across Scott's gym through the partner at the time, and I was actually pregnant, so I wasn't training, but obviously I was scouting about, and saw Impact, and saw how good Scott was and what they're about there, and I just thought, wow, you know what, this is a really good gym. And when my second, when the baby came, it was just a very hard time for me, and I kind of bit the bullet and was like, right, do you know what, I can't do this anymore. So I left the relationship, and actually messaged Scott and was like, look, any chance I can come up for a couple of PTs, please? And he was just like, yeah, is there nowhere in Shrewsbury? I was like, no, I just want to come up there if that's okay. Went up there, started driving up there, and I'd sort of be going up there in the morning, maybe doing a PT with Scott, and sort of saying, oh, have you got like evening classes? And he'd be like, yeah. So then I'd drive back and go back up in the evening and go back up for the evening class for an hour. And then I eventually just ended up thinking, do you know what, I'm going to move up there. So I just moved to Stoke, tried to follow the dream. Scott's obviously helped a lot with, helping me out with areas of where I need to live and stuff like that, because I got no idea. And I've been very lucky to obviously pursue that boxing career then. And then obviously, I trained really hard and was like, can I turn pro, Scott? And he was like, we'll have a go. We can try and see, because obviously I'd only done a few white collar fights, so I hadn't really got much experience. Okay. But yeah, we passed all the assessments and stuff, and we haven't looked back since, really. So that's pretty much where it started from. Excellent.
So you've come the white collar route, which I was going to say, was there an amateur background, or was there anything else before that? Nothing at all from you shaking your head.
No. I mean, where I used to live in Shrewsbury, there was a few sort of white collar shows about, and I started off in a few gyms there, so I tried to get involved in that, but I'm not being funny, I didn't really know how to, like, Scott always takes the mick these days. He'll always be like, God, do you remember when you came in? And I was like, what defenses do you know? And he was like, and you just put your hands up in front of your face. And he was like, and you were like, that one. And I was like, he goes, yeah, well, what else? And I was like, no, that's it. And he was like, right, okay. We got a lot of work to do there. So all I was kind of about in the white collar was just attack. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't really know, like, all the footwork and all that sort of stuff that goes along with it. I was just ready for a scrap. So that's still in me a little bit now, but we have tried to make me a bit more of a boxer now. So I do think he's done pretty well, to be fair. So, but no amateur background from me.
Okay. So the difference, obviously, you said the difference between the 8 weeks white collar sort of route that you sort of think doesn't teach you some of the basic stuff that you thought, well, that's my defense.
Literally.
Hands up in front of your face, that'll do. Be surprised there's still some pro boxers, I'm sure.
I mean, I did all right. But I did okay, but
So then obviously Scott took you on the win. you decided moving forward. Was there a sort of discussion around the amateur, or are you going to go this route? Are you going to go amateur route? Are you going to, why was the push to be the pro? What was the drive behind that?
Um, to be honest, it was me really pushing. I
Mm-hmm.
think if it was up to Scott, he would have encouraged me to sort of have a few more. Maybe because of my age, it's a bit. I was sort of 30, I think, when I turned over, so I was quite late on to turn pro anyway. And part of it was to sort of try and earn some money out of it, as I'm a single mum. I've got 2 little kids I've got to try and provide
Yeah.
for. So that's obviously a nice bonus of it, but I do just enjoy the boxing side of it. But I think, yeah, for me, it was always, as soon as I'd found boxing, it's like I want to try and push to get somewhere in something. Do you know what I mean? I can't just
Mm-hmm.
do something just for the sake of it. And I knew things were against me in the fact of, obviously, lack of experience, age, obviously what I'd put my body through in the years previous, isn't going to stand me in good stead to compared to some fresh 19-year-old, but I knew everything where we are, but I mean, my main aim was, when we went in there, he was like, what would be the dream? I was like, well, Midlands title. And he was like, well, that's probably, it'll be a push bet, but we can try and achieve it. Do you know what I mean? And then
Mm-hmm.
when we've achieved that, I'm like, oh, right, okay, so what else can we do? So yeah, we're a good team. And I'm privileged and proud to have come as far as I have with as little as experience as I have had. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I was going to say, because you've done, again, your career is quite full, really, because considering you started late. What are you 16 fights now? 17? No,
I'm actually
nearly
due to have
20.
my 20th
Yeah.
fight on the 5th of July. So yeah, we're nearly 20 pro fights deep now. So
And we started back in 2021 after lockdown.
yeah. Yeah, well, it was just towards the end of lockdown, because I think my pro debut against Kirsty Bavington, pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure there wasn't any crowd there. I'm pretty sure it was like an empty thing, and obviously we were having to have the COVID tests and everything like that. It was
Yeah.
pretty fresh still on that side, so that was quite it was not a shock, because obviously I didn't know what to expect with these sort of things when I turned
Yeah.
over anyway. But obviously, to turn up somewhere and you've got like people swabbing you and all sorts going on, and just and then obviously no crowd or anything. So when you're boxing, there's no
Yeah.
noise. It's a bit weird.
We've talked to a few boxers on here that went through the lockdown thing. It does seem to be completely and utterly weird now, thinking back and looking back on how things were.
Yeah,
And like you said, no crowd, no atmosphere. That in itself is enough weirdness. But then you've got all these other, people standing around with swabs and masks and whatever else, and telling you can't go any close, you can't go there, you can't do that. How I don't even know how we managed to
I don't know how we
survive that.
managed to get through it. To be honest,
Yeah,
I know.
insanity.
Um,
But,
I'm glad we're past it a bit more though now.
yeah.
So
But you've got a plethora of people, and you've had a few wars with quite a few different and well-known names as well. And a couple of people have already been on the show, and ones that potentially could be coming on the show as well. So you started obviously with, as you say, Kirsty Bavington. You had a couple of bouts with Vicky Wilkinson over the years as well, different times,
I
different
did.
stages. Obviously, you had her for your first opportunity at the Midlands title, wasn't it? That was
Yes.
2022.
Yeah.
How was it? How did it differ then? Knowing obviously you're getting into a ring with someone you've been in the ring with before, and this time it's for a title.
Do you know what? It's tough because Vicky's obviously, she's quite local to me. At the time, I mean, I'm not sure whether she's still boxing now, but we used to sort of spar a lot with each other. But we did kind of know that eventually we were going to have to cross paths in that sense. But we used to it used to be a mad one for me, and I know she won't mind me saying, but we used to be like, I find it would be even in sparring. But then when it had come to fight night, I don't know what it is. She just seemed to do something, and I just wouldn't be able to get my head around it. I was never beaten badly, but I just couldn't keep my head straight with Vicky. She was just, she was just nuts, like, and she's strong. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, so obviously doing that fight with her, I can't remember whether we'd had a couple of fights, and then we fought for the Midlands, because I think we fought. I swear we fought 3 times.
The Midlands was the third, if you want.
I think,
The
yeah,
Midlands was the third.
Midlands was the
Was
third.
the
Yeah.
killer
So
day.
obviously I'd fought her twice and not beaten her twice. So I knew what I had to do. Do you know what I mean? And then in the Midlands fight, I think we clashed heads, and I swear it was in the first. And don't know whether there was like a slight bit of concussion, but I can't actually like physically remember the next couple of rounds.
Okay.
But Scott will just remember telling me, he was going every time I kept coming back to the corner. He was like, "You were just going, well, I'm losing, aren't I, Scott?" Like this, and he was just going, "Becky, seriously, you just need to chill out. It's not that bad. Like, you know, it's fine, it's fine." But I think I put a lot of pressure on myself for that one because obviously, like I said, that was the dream of getting the Midlands. And I thought that might be my only shot. Do you know what I mean? So I think my head wasn't in it in the sense that I'd put way too much pressure on myself. But you know, it was a good scrap. We always had a good fight. You know, and I'm always standing there giving as good as I can.
Yeah.
But I've got nothing but respect for Vicky or anyone else I've got in with. You know, I've got no bad blood with anybody that
No,
I've
no,
boxed.
I wasn't trying to sort of insinuate there was anything like that. I was just, it's obviously when you've been in the ring with someone before, and you know, like you said there's something that she did. It's like you said, you sparred with them. There is a saying that, you know, I've never taught, the master never teaches all the tricks, and I kind of think that that's probably, well, she gave you what she thought you needed to know, and then when she gets in the ring with you, it's a
She was
switch.
keeping a few. Yeah, absolutely.
Like Roddy Piper used to say, you know, when you know the answers, they change the questions. It's that sort of okay, yeah.
Very
So
smart though.
there's
Yeah, yeah.
something else about that. So props to Vicky in that respect as well. But you've also stepped in there with a couple like Hannah Bagley, sorry, Stevie Levy, you know,
Yeah.
again, still going strong. Amy Greatrex, which we'll come to in a second as well. Leanne Bush, who's been on the podcast as well, so retired now, but still very active and fit and keeping all that sort of side of it as well. And like I say, you've been in the ring with quite a few people. Was obviously the early days, the record probably is a little bit against you because you had a couple of losses to start off with.
More than a couple, but yeah, you're being nice there. But yeah,
trying to be what I think. Yeah, was there a point where you thought, I'm just going to go the journey person? I'm just going to go the journey route now here.
It is something that obviously crossed my mind more so when I sort of first turned over, because obviously, like I said, we didn't, not that we didn't have high expectations for me, but I knew how hard it was going to be. So even me and Scott had sort of had that discussion, and he was like, "Well, how do you want to do it? Like, you know, what kind of route do you want to go?" I was like, "Well, I just really want to fight as much as I can, really." And he was like, "Well, you know, it's hard to go away, you know." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." I was like, "But I'm not really a ticket seller, and obviously not coming from Stoke, and I'd never really sort of promoted myself in the Stoke area. That I don't, you know, it was hard for me to sort of get any sort of, you know, backing as such.
Traction with the fact
which is fair, you know, it's fair. So obviously, yeah, when we first started doing those first few fights, we were literally in the changing room being like, right, well, let's just try and, first off, it was like, let's just try and get through the fight, and make sure we don't, you know, get stopped or anything. So I was like, yeah, fine. And then obviously when we sort of did that, he was like, right, okay, let's see if we can try and like win a round in the fight back. And I'm like, okay. And then we, like, you know, maybe got a round or, you know, a round and a half or whatever in the next couple of fights. And then it was like, right, okay, maybe let's try and win a fight now then, Beck. And I'm like, okay. And then, okay then. And then obviously when we did that, it was like, oh right. Oh, hang on a minute then. So I think it kind of changed my mindset a little bit. It's a hard one for me. Like, I'm not shy in saying when I go in, I do want to go in to win, but I've also got that mindset that, look, it is what it is. And I know sometimes you shouldn't have that as a fighter, but it's a tough game for me. I've took a lot of losses, so to still step back in there after losing, like I'm 6-13, I think the record is now. So, you know, I've won a few, but I've also lost a few as well. And but those losses have helped me gain the wins, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah, so I'm just privileged to be in there. I'm happy to have the names that I do have. Like, you know, when you reel the names off that I've been in there with,
Yeah.
these girls are either current champions, been champions, or they're decent people that I've been in there with, and I've given them a good go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm dead proud of myself for that, and I know Scott and the guys at the gym are, and my kids, you know, and that's what it's about. And I get in there and I have a good time. But if I can win, damn straight, I'm trying to win, you know. So
Yeah.
it's no joke for me, but obviously, yeah, it is what it is. So
I think the O is overrated in some respect. You know, yes, it's impressive to be 10-0 or 15-0 or 41-0, but at the same time, you come in and you wanted to learn, and you've learned. You know, the on the job
absolutely,
kind of thing. So, you know, that shows your testimony, and the fact that you're still going. You're due for a fight now in July. Is that right?
yeah. 5th of July, I'm out next. I think it's Rotherham. I think we are.
So you're still scheduled, you're still taking the fights, and still going forward, and still trying to get where you wanted to go and see where the boxing journey is taking you, which is
Absolutely,
fantastic.
yeah.
You did get you've had a few opportunities at the title you mentioned earlier, the Midland area title, a couple of different weight categories, and came short on the first time, came short on the second,
We did. Yeah,
and then the third. I think was that the one I announced. Maybe I can't remember.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
was.
Um,
Third time lucky.
Third time lucky. Third time with a charm. So, and that was over Amy Grader-X. Again, fantastic bout, as I remember correctly. If my memory serves, my memory's awful though, so it could have
Yeah,
been an awful bout.
yeah, no, fair
But
play to you, honestly.
I think it was a good bout actually. I was like, that's an impressive. And you walked away with the strap. Happy with that point?
Big Hype Podcast, sponsored by Hype Energy Drinks.
Yeah, that was, for me, that was like a very emotional thing for me. To obviously, without delving too far into the past, but from where I was and what I was up to, and you know, to have, that person back then would have never believed that I could achieve anything like I have now. So to stand there and hold that belt, like, and it's I joke about it now, but I actually went out for food the next day. My mum had the kids because obviously it was to recover, like, you know, let me recover.
Yeah.
But I took the belt for food. Me and the belt just went out for some dinner. And people were looking at me a bit strange, but I thought, you know what? I don't even care. I've worked so hard for this. Yeah, so whilst I had it, you know, it had a good life with me. So I'm aiming to get one back. I'd like to have it back. I'd like to have it back. I know it misses me. I know it does. But yeah,
You still call on weekends. What are you up to?
yeah, that's what I mean. It was a bad breakup, man. It was a bad breakup. So I need it back.
That because you lost it at the next defense, which was a couple of months later, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jess Barry. I mean, what a girl she is. I mean, you know, she's gone on to do great things. Do you know what I mean? So I've got no shame in that either.
No, I think of the people that, you know, yes, she's doing fantastically well and doing fantastic things with itself. So, this sort of brings us up to the modern day and where we are. As you say, we've got one in the pipeline waiting for that to happen. Is there anything else in the pipeline that we should know about, or you can let us know about?
At the minute, not really. I'm trying to obviously just make people aware I am available, you know. My only downfall is, unfortunately, I rely on my mother for my children for childcare. So fight dates do actually come about, but unfortunately, if they're, you know, far away and I've got the kids, I can't do it. So I've had to say no to a couple, which never goes down with me really very well, because I don't like to ever do that. But the 5th of July was obviously booked quite far away, so
Plenty of time to ask mum.
Give me enough time to obviously arrange that with the mother Hubbard. So bless her. But no, I'm trying to keep as active as I can. Obviously, I'm not too sure on a home show on Stoke or anything anytime soon. But as soon as that obviously comes available, I am fully ready to be on that. And just trying to do what I can where I can. And if it's to get in the ring with anybody, I will do so. So I am fully available.
Plenty of shows, I'm sure, that would be looking for someone to match up you against. Because again, like I say, I think you're a great person as well, and fantastic prospect in the ring as well. And I know you're saying a bit later, but we're getting to that point now. Perhaps you are thinking of slowing down. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to position it and sort of play devil's advocate here a little. But if it was to stop tomorrow, if that was the end of it after this fight, that's it. No more fights coming your way. What would you end up thinking, or what would you like to do with boxing, or what you've done with your legacy in boxing?
Thank you for the legacy thing. That's very kind. That's what I actually want to achieve. So that would be a nice ending for me in boxing. But I think now I've found it, I don't think I could ever leave it. So in that sense, I would look to becoming a coach, maybe even a manager, and obviously try and, as I've been around it a lot, and been on sort of the boxing side of the fence, I'd quite like to go on the other side eventually when I'm done, and share the knowledge and understanding, and obviously, be living proof that you can actually come from very little experience and still achieve great things in the professional boxing world. But yeah, that is something that I would like to do. Obviously, I'm not planning on hanging up the gloves anytime soon, but we never know what's around the corner. I do get back pains when I wake up in the morning. It's taken me a little longer to get out of bed sometimes now. So the
That's just old age. It comes with old
wear
age.
and tear of your old age is coming for me. The few grey hairs that are coming through, So, but listen, I'll keep punching for as long as I can. So, I mean, if the opportunities come, obviously I'd like to take them. Whatever opportunity comes. Like I say, unless it's for a legitimate reason, I'm not one to say no. So I'd never turn down an opportunity. I'd like to say that we can achieve more belts and stuff, but it's whether those chances come. I know it's a hard thing to come by. So, but I'm privileged to obviously say that I have achieved that, and that is a great thing that I can keep with me forever. But who knows what's out there? But yeah,
something to pass on to your children as well. I'm guessing with the belts as well. If you can have a belt for both of them.
They were so proud. And that is also what it's about for me, showing that look what mum can do, and if mum can do it, you guys can do it. And they're with me in the gym every night. They're with me every day. Do you know what I mean? So they see me day in, day out, the blood, sweat, tears, all sorts. But I think that's an important part of our relationship, and obviously they're my little solid team. They keep me going when I don't want to go anymore. So
good motivation, good motivators. Keeping you going. Absolutely fantastic. We have a bit of a closing tradition on the show where I ask you either or questions, and we will just you can say whether you like it, whether you don't like it, which one you prefer. If you don't prefer either, just say nah, just no. So, you ready?
I'll give it a good shot. Let's go.
Firebomb. Are you ready? Here we go. Southpaw or orthodox?
Southpaw.
Body shots or headshots?
Body shot.
Train alone or with a partner?
Train alone.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Heavy bag or speed bag?
Heavy bag.
Underdog or favourite?
Underdog always.
In the boxing gym or out amongst the trees in the forests and outside?
Oh, tricky one. I am at happiest when I'm in the boxing gym though, so boxing gym, I'm afraid.
Okay. Short and powerful punches or long and technical?
I should keep it long and technical, but I do like the short. I know what I should be answering, but it's always the opposite. So
it's all right.
No,
that's fine. Ones. There's no right and wrong answers.
Short and powerful ones all the time. Inside work. I love it.
Get in. Fight dirty or fight clean?
Should always fight clean. Always fight clean, unless you have to.
You've done both sides of it, so you can probably
I've had to do both, but I am a clean fighter when I like to think I am. But standing on a toe as a southpaw is one of the things. I'm sorry, it just happens.
It does. Loud crowd or quiet atmosphere?
You can't beat a loud crowd.
Good. Quick knockout or strategic win?
Strategic win, I think, because knockouts are great, but it's good to go the full haul of the fight and know that you've strategically won every round. I think it's a better win, but it's only because I haven't had a knockout yet. So we'll see. Ask me when I knock someone out, and then come back to me on that one.
I'll come back to you on that one, okay. And hypothetical question, last and not least, because we don't think this is ever going to happen, but AJ or Fury?
It's got to be Fury, and I just love his drama that comes along with him. But yeah, that just came out too quick, so I can't even change it. There you go, Fury. There you go.
Fury.
Not even going back on it.
It's all right. No, don't worry about it. You don't have to justify it. It is what it is. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I think a lot of people would love to see that. I think, both of them probably should have happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe. Even last year at the very latest. But we are where we are. He says he's retired now as well.
You never know, though. Could still happen. Well,
Fury says he's retired and he's staying retired.
He could come out of retirement again, though, couldn't he? So
he's retired more times than Ric Flair, so and the man's still going. So it just
that's what I mean.
To
you
stage,
just don't know, do you? So he could
just
surprise
don't know
us.
with the man. You just don't know. I kind of hope it happens. Just as
Me
a fan,
too.
I think we'd all win just because it would happen, and everyone would be happy. Then at least we know which way it would go. So
absolutely.
Anyway, Beck, how do people get in contact with you? How do they follow your journey and see what you're up to next?
Obviously, I am on social media as much as I can. Beccy Ferguson on Facebook, spelled Beccy. And Instagram, obviously, the Firebomb. I do try and post as much as I can on there with my videos and stuff. But yeah, so those are the main spots. Obviously, I box out of Impact Boxing Gym, so shout out to Scott and everyone there.
Scott's great.
For all the amazing...
just out on the record, I'm just going to say Scott is great. He's given me opportunities as well over the years. So
he's amazing. He's a bit of an arse. Like, I can't. Tonight, for example, I've gone into the gym in some lovely leggings that I thought were brilliant, pink leggings, and I've stood there with my hands on my hips, not looking flattering at all whatsoever, and I look like Randy Savage, the wrestler, and he's put a picture of me and a picture of Randy Savage. Oh yeah, and put that right next to each other. And put it on Facebook tonight. So, yeah, great. So, in the nicest way possible, I'm trying to think of a word that I could politely call him. But, yeah, but I love him to bits. Like, he's great. And he looks after the kids when I'm training as well. Like, he terrorizes the kids and that. And just, it's a good gym, that gym is, So, and we got some good talent coming through. Like, shout out to Lewis Lawton as well, Scott's son. Mm-hmm. He's coming through now, and he did his pro debut and stopped the guy in the first round. Like, there's big things coming for Lou, and obviously Jamie Stewart, and Callum Hill. We're a solid little team down there, so
good things.
We'll keep putting our mark out where we can.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the Big Hype podcast. I hope you get lots of things. All the best with your fight coming up in July.
Thank you.
We'll be watching. And we wish you have success in that and everything success in getting that other title over the line as well. Fingers crossed for you as well, Beck.
Let's hope so. I hope so.
No worries.
Thank you so much, John.
No worries. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.
Hey, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this and follow this on all of the platforms that you're following your podcasts on, and keep it locked in for every Tuesday. We'll be launching a new podcast. So keep it on the Big Hype podcast.